you were wondering what this huge bar on the top of our screen was for this whole week, it is a fundraiser to Write Love on Our Arms, which is a charity that helps with mental health resources and suicide awareness. And World Suicide Prevention Day is today, and National Suicide Prevention Week is this whole week. And what I want us to do is just be able to amplify and feel comfortable about talking about suicide and its prevention and how to take action about reversing the growing rate of suicide, especially in 2020 during this pandemic. And we always talk about this kind of thing, even when it's not World Suicide Prevention Day. But if you're ever wondering, all right, I think a friend of mine or my significant other or my little sister might be struggling, and you have no idea how to start those type of conversations, there's a lot of great resources about how to have a conversation about mental health. And if you don't know the signs in the first place of someone that you care about and you should be concerned about them and their mental health, some of them that you can look for as just a concerned friend or family member is if there are any impulsive behaviors or being more irritated than usual, not functioning like their usual selves. So there's a huge change in habit of how someone dresses, their general appearance, their eating and sleeping habits, usually in a negative or lackadaisical way. They talk about their feelings of loneliness and despair, such as sharing memes about it. Like, sometimes it's just funny and other times it is a call for assistance. Excessive worry about different life issues, such as being able to pay your college tuition bill, or being able to graduate college at all, or not being able to find a job and worrying about unemployment running out. Any trouble concentrating on work, on tasks, on things that they have enjoyed in the past. So they used to raid in Destiny 2 with you a lot, and now they're just not interested in it anymore, like all of a sudden. And it's not like, oh, I'm playing Guild Wars 2 now instead with, like, you know, some old high school buddies of mine. They just don't participate in the hobbies that they used to love as much. And then another relatively common and easier concerning sign that you could see is substance misuse. So someone drinking a lot, smoking a lot, and so on. So if you notice those signs in someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that they might have suicidal tendencies, but they're obviously most likely needing a friend or a significant family member to be able to say, hey, are you okay? And it's really as simple as, it seems like something's up. Do you want to talk about what's going on? I've noticed you've been down lately. What's going on? We haven't talked in a while. How are you? It seems like you haven't been yourself lately. What's up? Are you okay? You don't seem like yourself lately. I know that you're going through some stuff. I'm here for you. No matter what you're going through, I have your back. I know this is awkward, but I really like to know if you're doing all right. I haven't heard you laugh in a while. Is everything okay? I'm worried about you and I want to know what's up so I can help. Is there anything you want to talk about? That's how you start those conversations. And it's possible that people will just say, no, I'm cool, but be relatively persistent about it. And if you don't really know how to start that conversation, or if you're not really a talkative person, you can even talk about your own struggles and what you're going through to give your friend an avenue to open up with. Like, yeah, this calculus class is just kicking my ass. I thought I was good at math, and now I'm really afraid that I'm going to fail. How are you doing with it? Or, yeah, I haven't had a job in a year, and it's like really grating on me and my mental self-esteem and my mental health. How's your job search going? Ask a friend to play an online game with you. I mean, there's a lot of really great ones. There's Jackbox, Among Us, Destiny 2 is free now. So if you're able to play something like that, like, hey, let's just do some Destiny 2 together really quick. Like, we've never really played it. Ask them to grab some food after class. If you have a shared hobby, use that as an opportunity to check in. Invite them to go on a walk or a drive just around your neighborhood together. So during the conversation, keep it casual and relaxed. It's just a chill chat between friends or family members. It's not a therapy session. Listen to them. Let them take the lead. Ask them if they've seen a doctor about what they've been saying or thinking. Try to avoid offering any advice or trying to fix their problems unless they ask for it or you feel incredibly comfortable with the way that the conversation is going, because you've had this conversation with them over a long period of time. Let them know that it's okay to feel the way they do because it's their perspective on life. Make yourself available and be someone that they can rely on. Ask open-ended questions. Help them to talk, not just say yes or no. Let them open up at their own speed. Like I said earlier, some people will just say, nah, I'm cool, dude. Nah, let's just play a game. But make sure that you try again. Later on that week, later on that day, when it feels right to try to start those conversations again. Don't demand them to answer or force them anything they're not ready to say or do. And then finally, encourage them to talk to an expert. There's a lot of telemedicine support out there, and there's also sliding scales of payment plans for talking to a mental health expert. So, I have a bunch of links in here about all of that. Information about specific groups of people and educational resources, people who have gone through a disaster, like a world event, people who have attempted suicide in the past and are struggling again currently, people who have lost someone that they love to suicide, someone who is a veteran, someone who is a youth or LGBTQ. There are specific ways that you can navigate those conversations as well, too. And then there's a bunch of counseling and therapy possibilities for the USA, for Canada, Great Britain, Australia, internationally, with Talkspace and To Write Love on Our Arms and Psychology Today. And if you feel like someone might be in a crisis, I would recommend contacting the Crisis Text Line or the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And there's also international resources there as well, too. So what happens, like, you know, you started a conversation because you saw some signs in someone you care about, and they kind of opened up to you a little bit, and you're like, wow, they're going through something right now. Don't give up, because maybe the first attempt is like they said something that was like, yeah, I'm not doing well right now and I don't want to talk about it. They weren't ready to talk, possibly. Show your friend that you're available and keep checking in on them. Keep invitations going. It's a really difficult thing to do as social creatures when we constantly get denied of like, oh, let's hang out, let's play a game. You feel like you're bothering them, or you feel like your efforts aren't being appreciated, so you stop inviting that person. But really try your best to keep offering and keep that person in your mind. Rejection usually isn't personal. It's because someone is wrapped up in their own minds. Handle their trust with care. You might be the only person in the world that they're talking about this with. Don't gossip. Don't turn other people against them. Don't betray someone else's trust in you, because it is very difficult to get that back once it shatters. Also, get outside help. You are not a professional. You are not their doctor. Make sure that you set them up with the proper professional resources as well, too. Like, hey, you know, I've given you some advice, and, you know, we've gone through this together, and I think a next really good step would be maybe you should just do a quick telemedicine with a therapist. Maybe they could give better advice than I can, which they can most of the time. But at the same time, sometimes when you hear that someone you care about, a friend or a family member, is going through something so difficult, it can be really draining and taxing on you too, as someone that they're confiding in. And that doesn't make you weak. That doesn't make you a bad person to talk to about those issues. That makes you a normal human being who has a lot of empathy for someone that you care about. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself too. Get telemedicine and talk to a therapist yourself. Talk to someone else that you care about. Be like, wow, I just went through a really tough conversation with my grandpa, and I don't want to get into the details right now, but I'm like really struggling. I was wondering if we could just like do something to distract me really quick. That's like one example of something like that. So yeah, it's difficult to set boundaries, and that's a whole nother discussion. But make sure you keep your own day-to-day consistent. You have a routine. You have to go to work. You have to go to class. You have to stream, whatever. Like, keep your own life things going, but also while you're still being a supportive individual to the person that you care about. Take care of yourself. Let them know, like, hey, I just got to chill tonight, but I'll talk to you tomorrow morning for sure. I'll hit you up to make sure that, if you need to take some time for yourself and soak in the bath or just veg out and Netflix and chill, that you do that for yourself too. And just in general, some things to avoid while you're trying to help your friend is don't take the behavior or the comments personally. Like, it's easy to do if they say, like, there's like, let's say it's a sibling and they're in a huge fight with your parents and they're gonna cut them off and like go no contact or whatever, and they say, they're a son of a bitch and they were a horrible mom and blah 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 blah, and don't necessarily take it personally because it's their perspective on their relationship with their parent. And so if you are their sibling and you start trying to defend your parent or defend, like, well, I'm still friends with them because they're good to me because I don't fuck up like you do, well, that's not really helpful when you're trying to help someone through a crisis, right? Don't give any ultimatums. Don't say something like, if you don't stop hurting yourself, I won't be friends with you anymore. You're just cutting them out. That's not the right way to be able to help someone who might be hurting themselves. Don't tease or share any private information in any group chats or conversations. Respect your friends' trust and feelings. Don't get frustrated if they don't have the same perspective as you about the situation. You obviously can share your perspective, but if they disagree, they're allowed to disagree. Don't shame them, don't blame them, and don't guilt them for their feelings or their actions. Don't say, that whole, like, using I statements instead of you statements. That's something that many of us might have learned, like, in grade school for conflict resolution. Don't say, you are being reckless. Say, I'm concerned that you might be hurting yourself, and that makes me worry because I care about you. So rephrasing the sentence. It's basically like writing a really fancy English paper, but saying it out loud. Don't engage in activities that will make it worse, such as going on an alcohol binge or drug binge to distract from the negative feelings. Maybe having like a nice red wine glass at dinner while you're talking about these things. That's responsible and moderate behavior, but buying a bunch of handles of liquor and getting drunk in 2 hours with, like, your friend probably isn't the best idea. You don't want to do substance abuse and misuse. Don't give up. Being positive will help you and your friend stay strong and provide them the strength that they need to get healthy and to get better. Make sure that you're giving them professional resources. Be a friend. Be someone who's like, wow, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. I'm here for you, and what do you need from me right now? So yeah. I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about that.
That's great.